Hi everyone! This is a little bit of a different video than I normally make, so a quick disclaimer. I am talking about my opinion or the research that I've done previously, and my intention is not to offend any Therians. I have lots of Therian friends, and yeah. These are all the things I'm going to be talking about in the video, and I'll put a timestamp in the description so that if you want to skip to any point, you can. So, let's get into it. By the way, in this section I don't plan on talking much about shifts or any other subgroups besides Therian. So what is a Therian? The book definition is someone who non-physically identifies as an animal because of uncontrollable animalistic behaviors. It does change slightly from where you go to look, because I got my definition from Google, so be aware of that when you're doing your research. Usually Therians are Therians because they had a past life as an animal, but it can also be someone's internal view of themselves, either spiritually or mentally. An internal view of self means how you feel inside, not how you look. Everyone's experiences with theriantropy is different though, so don't judge your identity off of my definition. What is my experience with theriantropy, and why as a furry am I talking about it? I identified as a therian for a while, but then I stopped. If you're wondering how that's possible, look in the next section and it will explain it in more depth. The real story is that I learned what a therian was last September, maybe a little bit earlier, and I found it on a therian compilation, you know, the ones with quads and that's it. I then did my own research, and if you're thinking that you're a therian, I highly suggest this, so you don't come into it uneducated. I figured out that some of my experiences lined up with the ones Therians were. Actually, most of my experiences lined up with the book definition of Therian. So I decided to take on the title of a Therian. I still believe that I've had past lives as an animal, and I still do get phantom shifts, but up until last summer, my identity stayed the same. So what happened? I always had a slightly weird feeling about the definition of Therian. Near the end of the summer, I stopped identifying as a Therian. I've gone back and forth with this choice, and I still struggle to figure out how I identify today. And I am still looking into different subgroups, so if you're a Therian, I wouldn't be afraid to look at other options, or rethink your decision if you are already questioning yourself. And just a little add-on, I do make masks and wear tails just for fun. Though it is a form of expression, for me, it doesn't represent my past lives. My controversial opinion is that theriantropy is a choice. Now, before you type up some hate comment, let me explain why, because I think it'll make more sense in a moment. Having the experiences of a normal therian, like shifts or having a past life, isn't a choice, and I agree with that. But identifying with the title therian is. I choose not to identify with the title Therian. That is my choice, even though I have the normal experiences like shifts and past lives as a normal Therian. Though, it could go the same way for people who are a Therian. Like, people all over the world decide that they are a Therian based on their experiences. This also goes into if your internal view of self is different than just human. For example, if your internal view of self is a wolf, you would identify with the term Therian if you wanted. So everyone does decide whether they are a Therian or not. So technically, it's always a choice. And saying, you're a Therian, there's no choice, you can't leave, you have to stay like this, can be extremely scary to some, especially people like me who the definition really doesn't fit, even though it should based on our experiences. If you're still not understanding what I'm trying to get through, you can just leave a comment. Or if you agree with me and have a similar experience, leave a comment. I'll try and look at them and answer back if I can. Now let's speed run through some normal myths in the Therian community. Most of these are based off of just things that people say to hate, but if you are really confused, that's why I'm here. Therians think that they are physically animals. No. The definition Therian means that you non-physically think that your internal view of self is an animal. There are accessories, like this and this, but that's more connection to your stereotypes and not becoming them. You need to have shifts or past lives to be a Therian. I already touched on this briefly and why I think that that's not true, because realistically, The main part of being a Therian is your internal view of self. So, even if you don't have shifts or don't have a past life, that's okay, as long as you think of yourself internally or you view yourself internally as an animal. I don't see why you can't identify as a Therian. Furries and Therians are the same thing. This is a really common myth, and I think that's just because people see masks or tails and think furry. But furry is just a hobby. They dress up for fun, they make masks for fun, wear tails for fun, make fursuits for fun, or just draw for fun. Therians, on the other hand, it is an internal view of self or an identity, or based off of a past life. It goes a lot deeper than just being a hobby. It is a full-blown identity, like being LGBTQ. There is such thing as a Therian style. I feel this is false because you have people on the internet like eBay Carson and Franz who are both Therians but have very, very different styles. There is no one style that a Therian should have or has to have, and I feel like it's restricting to say something like that. Even if you like how one Therian dresses, just be aware that that's mostly just a stereotype. And the last one, Therians are mentally ill. So far, through all the research that has been done, there is no sign that Therians are mentally ill. It's also not affecting their day-to-day life, and that's what a mental illness does. So, even if people are just saying this to be mean, there is some backing up that that's not true. Thanks for watching! If you have any questions, just comment them down below and I'll try and get to them. Also, maybe subscribe, because I want to get to 1,000 so I can do a free mask giveaway.
Bye.